Well, our next guest says the market bottom is in, but there's still a long road ahead. Let's bring in hedge fund legend Mike Novogratz. He's the founder and CEO of Galaxy Digital. Mike, great to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Quite a lot has changed in the 20-some days since we last spoke. Number one, the elephant in the room, which is your mustache, is fantastic. Second of all, the last time we spoke, the S&P 500 was at 2736, and you were short at that time. We're now above 2,900. So what's your take on the markets right now?
Yeah, listen, I think we've been in a tug of war between liquidity on the one side and, you can call it fundamentals or a really crappy economy on the other. And liquidity is winning. And so it was not a great time to be short. Those shorts don't last very long. And you've been fighting that tape. Listen, in the long run, like you go back even 10 days from there, we were kind of a little higher. And so the market's only up 2 to 4% in, say, 30 days, but it's certainly grinding higher on liquidity. And the names that are going higher, right, the big caps, the story names, the NASDAQ, in some ways, you can't really put a cap on valuation because if we're in this inflationary paradigm that the Fed is creating with all the money printing, the same paradigm that's driving gold and Bitcoin prices higher, NASDAQ becomes a store of value, stocks become a store of value, and we don't really have a normal valuation metric. And so it's very dangerous to be short these things. The charts look like they're going higher. The cash flows look like they're going higher. And one of my favorite statistics of this is disposable income in America is going to be higher this year than it was last year because of all the stimulus. And that's a shocking statistic.
Let's repeat that because that is shocking.
So disposable income, right? Listen, if you were a low wage earner working at a quick serve restaurant or at a big box retail, your unemployment check right now is double your current paycheck, right? You're making $25 an hour plus the stimulus. And so there's actually in some way more cash flow available to people than there was pre-corona. Now it's not going to last forever, right? That program cuts off in July. But right now there's so much liquidity, it's driving price.
So you can't fight the market, you can't fight the Fed, you can't fight all this liquidity. So you won't be short this market until sometime after July, basically?
I had put spreads, they didn't work. I'm watching the market closely, and certain segments, banks can't go anywhere. You look at the high yield index, it won't go anywhere. So credit, because people are saying, hey, people are going to pay their rents. They're not showing up at restaurants. The credit situation is going to be a mess and remain a mess for a long time. We're not getting out of this easy. At best, we're going to have what I call a dirty opening or a messy opening. And because we can't get ourselves together on testing or contract tracing, it's just no one's making any progress there. Even when we open, there's going to be tons of fear. And so you're not going to get the economy even close to what it used to be. At one point we had this hope that there'd be the vaccine, or you do a really aggressive testing regimen and get people feeling comfortable again. It ain't going to happen. And so now we're talking the summer, through the summer. Some people aren't going back to work till January in their offices. And so we're in a whole new paradigm, which will be lower growth, messier opening, bad politics. And so it's hard for me to get bullish in the stock market. So I'm looking for areas to pick my shorts. But the overall trend, too much liquidity.
Okay, so you have half of your book, which is sort of the macro trade in the markets, and you have half your book in the crypto side of things. We're going to get to that after the break, the crypto side of things. But just to button up our market conversation, Mike, I mean, your short position in the market's going to expire. I believe you tweeted on Friday. Your puts are going to expire on Friday. So what are you going to do with that dry powder, so to speak? Or do you just sit there and wait? I mean, are there tactical things that you're doing?
I will probably still buy some put spreads because I like to have some exposure to a market. If and when it finally breaks, it's a lot easier to sell weakness if you already have some exposure. So I'll probably buy some more put spreads if I can find strikes that make sense to me. And listen, there's some names I go along. I think anything with Bojangles is a private company that used to be public that we own a big stake in. Anything with the drive-through is doing well. So quick service restaurants. Interesting. Sales are up year on year in lots of those businesses. And so, there's some names we like. I think longer term, leisure will come back at one point. And so bottom fishing there, but not making a big commitment in the stock market right yet.
All right. Guy, you got a question?
I do. Mike, mustache notwithstanding, I know you to be an extraordinarily bright person and sort of a study of, one that studies human behavior. My question to you is this. Everybody talks about this pent-up demand once we get through this coronavirus. My question is, do you think people will fundamentally change? Can you rely on the U.S. consumer 6-9 months from now when there's a vaccine the same way you could, let's say, December of last year?
Listen, I think if we get an all clear, if there was a miracle vaccine in 6 months, behaviors will migrate back to what they used to be pretty quick. But I think we're a long way from that. I used to be much more optimistic, and I just see really difficulty, a real difficult scenario in us opening in any kind of real way. And until we get people feeling safe, and it's funny, some people feel completely safe and others are petrified to go outside their house. And so you've got to actually get the majority of people, almost the super majority, feeling safe. And we're a long way from that. But I think if you have the miracle thing, I think behaviors will people will take cruises, people will pack themselves in bars, people will go to concerts faster than you think. But that could be 12 months, 18 months away.